Zhang Yi's face could not hide his worry. If this continues, sooner or later, the entire city will be completely overrun by zombies. I can't imagine how we will survive then. Everyone bowed their heads, deep in thought, their expressions full of concern. Yang Xinxin, sitting in her wheelchair, slowly sipped a cup of coffee before speaking. But looking at the current situation, this trend is still unclear. Otherwise, every time they attacked us, there wouldn't just be a few thousand zombies. However, she then shifted her tone to a more serious one. If we don't find the source of these zombies, they will certainly become a huge problem in the future. Lu Karen sighed. If only it were summer now, that would be great. The zombies would be roasted. Zhang Yi said, the scariest thing is not their numbers, but that someone seems to be controlling them. They are not just mindless monsters, they are also very hard to kill. You can only destroy them with fire or by dismembering them. This makes dealing with them even more difficult. Yang Xinxin said, so the most important thing is to deal with the person controlling them, right? Zhang Yi laughed. It's easy to say, but can we really do it? How are we going to find this mysterious person? Every time we only manage to kill half of them, they retreat. I really can't judge whether someone is controlling these zombies. Zhang Yi sighed, leaning back with a heavy heart. No one could explain this situation with common sense. They also couldn't easily venture deep into the subway to investigate, as there were certainly many zombies lurking there. Even though their combat power was strong, Zhang Yi did not want to leave the shelter unless absolutely necessary. While everyone was pondering, Zhou Ke, who was standing behind Zhang Yi, spoke up. Actually, I have a hypothesis. Zhang Yi turned around to look at her. He signaled Zhou Ke to continue. Usually, Zhou Ke was a doctor and did not directly participate in battle plans, but this time her expertise could provide valuable information. Encouraged by Zhang Yi, Zhou Ke began to explain. In the past 2 days, I have been studying the bodies of the zombies and discovered a very strange bacterium. It can withstand extremely low temperatures, even surviving at -100 degrees Celsius, and has the ability to invade the nervous system to control the body. But Zhou Ke furrowed her brow. It doesn't fit the definition of bacteria in modern biology. Its structure is like a mix between a virus and a cell, leaning more towards a cell, but it has the ability to invade and control the host's body like a virus. Zhang Yi, who had discarded much of his knowledge after graduation, found Zhou Ke's explanation as bewildering as being lost in a fog. Zhou Ke, could you simplify that a bit? In this room, the number of people who could understand Zhou Ke's explanation was very few, probably only a handful. Especially the 3 men in the room who didn't understand a thing. Zhou Ke smiled awkwardly. After the apocalypse, due to the influence of gamma radiation, biology has been redefined. For now, let's temporarily call it the zombie virus. Simply put, it exhibits some characteristics of microbial or communal animal behavior. When zombies are in a group, they act with a certain consistency and even a certain intelligence. But when we studied isolated zombies in the lab, we found that their reproductive instincts and responsiveness weakened. So, I suspect that the control method of this virus might depend on a mother virus, and these zombies are controlled by the mother virus. Zhang Yi sat up straight from the couch and exclaimed, control? Zhou Ke quickly clarified, of course not. Over long distances, for example, animals can communicate information through pheromones, and this mutated virus surely has its own way of transmitting information. Zhang Yi asked, are you saying that if we kill the mother virus, these infected zombies will also die? Zhou Ke shook her head. It's hard to say. At the very least, they won't act in large-scale coordinated and intelligent ways as they do now. Intelligence. The word echoed in Zhang Yi's mind like thunder. His eyes lit up. He finally realized the cause of his discomfort. I think I understand something now. He said to his team, have you noticed that in the past 2 days, although the zombie attacks have been intense, they seem to possess a certain level of intelligence? In reality, the zombies' tactics are quite naive. They always choose to retreat after part of them is wiped out. It feels like a 2- or 3-year-old child learning to speak, slowly learning word by word. Zhang Yi's explanation made everyone feel it was reasonable. The zombies were still clumsy. Even when faced with powerful firepower like flamethrowers, they didn't choose to scatter and attack. But this time, they knew how to avoid Zhang Yi's spatial door and chose to flee when they realized the situation was unfavorable. They have intelligence, but not much. Liang Yu spoke up. Wait a moment, Zhang Yi, I think I understand what you mean. She crossed her arms, her eyes full of focus. You mean our opponent could be an intelligent zombie, possibly a human transformed after death, or a mutated virus that has taken over a human body and become a sort of mother virus. In any case, they have only recently gained intelligence and are learning human combat techniques. Zhang Yi thought this speculation was very plausible. Their method of fighting doesn't resemble normal human intelligence, but it's not completely mindless either. If such a creature exists, it could be considered the king of the zombies. Zhang Yi continued, after all, to gain supernatural abilities, we have identified two conditions: near-death experiences or stimulation by foreign objects like ice crystals. So, the possibility of gaining abilities after death isn't out of the question. After 2 battles, Zhang Yi and his group had gathered important information about this mysterious force. They moved quickly, possessed immense strength comparable to wild beasts, and more importantly, merely killing their leader did not eradicate them completely. Furthermore, they demonstrated a certain level of intelligence and awareness. However, whether there was a zombie king commanding this group remained speculation. Zhang Yi leaned his elbows on his knees, his eyes gleaming with a spark of insight. He spoke in a low voice, if these corpses have truly transformed and gained intelligence, our next attack might take longer. We will have the opportunity to gather more information. We need to pay attention to every small detail in their actions to figure out how to deal with them. However, first, we need to quickly eliminate the zombie groups around this area. Their existence poses a significant hidden danger. If we don't eradicate them, they will continuously harass us, making it difficult to ensure no unexpected incidents occur. Zhang Yi wasn't afraid of facing humans, but dealing with zombies that didn't fear death was another matter. How could they defeat creatures that had no fear? Liang Yu placed her sword beside her, crossed her arms, and leaned against the couch. However, there's still another problem. If these mutated corpses create intelligence and become a type of zombie monster capable of controlling large numbers, how can they cause chaos in every area of the city simultaneously? Zhang Yi smiled. I'm not sure. Yang Xinxin also shared her thoughts. The subway. Those 3 words made everyone clear-headed. They had never ventured deep underground, but they could guess that the temperature below the surface was higher, and movement would be more convenient. Yang Xinxin raised her head, her eyes gleaming with intelligence. She analyzed in a clear and cold voice, we know that the nearest area where zombies are active is the subway station. The city's subway system connects everywhere and can lead to any area. Therefore, zombies can also move through the subway to each area. Whether this is intentional or accidental needs careful consideration. Zhang Yi nodded thoughtfully, his hand supporting his chin. This also explains why we only face the smallest groups of zombies. The Zhang Yi estate is relatively far away, with only one subway line passing through the station. Zhang Yi said to Yang Xinxin, continue to monitor the situation of other forces. I need to know the zombie situation there. We need to find a way to deal with these so we can regain our leisurely life. Yang Xinxin smiled and nodded. Of course. However, their current life is not easy either. All 3 major bases have underground shelters. But they also have important structures on the surface like steel mills, refineries, and seaports. These places are the solid foundations of the bases. They certainly can't afford to lose them to the zombies and will fight to the end, forcing them to continuously battle with zombies. Zhang Yi smiled lightly and said, those issues are not our concern. If they don't want to sacrifice, they will have to keep fighting the zombies. Zhang Yi sighed and leaned back on the couch, saying, especially the Baixue sect. Their increasing number of people has made them feel threatened. Reducing their numbers this time might not be a bad thing for us.